Before Zeus reigned supreme from Mount Olympus, before Poseidon ruled the seas, and before Hades commanded the underworld, there was another generation of gods, the Titans. These massive and powerful gods ruled the cosmos in an age that seemed golden, but this era eventually gave way to the Olympian gods and their reign over the Greek world. But how did this transition happen? And what exactly were the Titans like? Let's journey back to an ancient time when the Titans held the universe in their hands. The Titans were giant, fearsome gods born from the union of Gaia, the earth, and Ouranos, the sky. The name Titan wasn't given to them kindly, and it was their father, Ouranos, who gave his own children this title after they rebelled against him. According to the poet Hesiod, the term Titan comes from the Greek words to strain and vengeance, foreshadowing the violent conflict that was to come. This idea of vengeance was embedded deeply in the myth, as the Titans' violent overthrow of their father set the stage for their eventual downfall. But their rise to power wasn't just a rebellion, it was the fulfillment of a prophecy. Hesiod's Theogony gives us the earliest known list of Titans, focusing on the children of Gaia and Ouranos. However, the story of the Titans also has roots in the Near East, where ancient myths from places like modern-day Turkey share similarities with the Titan saga. The Hurro-Hittite myth of Kumarbi tells of a succession of gods that mirrors the Titan story. In this sense, the Titan saga reflects an even more profound, even more ancient tradition of divine succession, one that spans cultures and civilizations. Each of that first generation of Titans, born of Gaia and Ouranos, was a powerful force in their own right. Oceanus, for example, was the god of the world-encompassing river. The Oceanus River surrounded the known world, providing a boundary between what was known and what lay beyond, and it was this river that the gods turned to for guidance and renewal. The importance of Oceanus in the ancient world cannot be overstated, as the idea of an eternal river flowing through all of creation gave shape to the world itself. Then there was Koios, the god of intelligence, who embodied the very axis of heaven itself. Koios held an essential place in the heavens, watching all of creation's intellectual pursuits. Krios, who ruled the constellations, was responsible for maintaining the order of the stars and the planets, governing their movements and ensuring that the cosmos remained aligned. Hyperion, the god of light, ruled the cycles of day and night, overseeing the sun's rise and fall across the sky, which played an essential role in the cycles of life and death. Kronos, the youngest of the Titans, was the god of time. He eventually overthrew his father, Ouranos, in one of the most dramatic acts in Greek mythology. Other notable Titans included Theia, the goddess of light, Rhea, the goddess of fertility, and Themis, who presided over law, order, and prophecy. These divine siblings controlled various aspects of the natural world, and together, the Titans ruled a chaotic but prosperous universe. Despite their immense power, not all of the children of Ouranos and Gaia were considered Titans. The Cyclopes, each with their single all-seeing eye, and the 100-handers, with their 50 heads and 100 arms, were not considered Titans, at least not in the poet Hesiod's eyes. Instead, the Titans were seen as the rulers of the primordial world, their actions shaping the fate of the cosmos. The Cyclopes and 100-handers were instead seen as more monstrous, their physical forms a reflection of the chaos they brought with them. But it was these creatures who, in the end, would become some of the most crucial players in the Olympian takeover. As time passed, more names were added to the list of Titans. Among them were the sons of Iapetus and Clymene, whose legacy would later intertwine with that of humanity. Prometheus, the most famous of these, created humanity and stole fire from Zeus to give to them, an act of rebellion that earned him a gruesome punishment. His brother Epimetheus married Pandora, whose curiosity led to the opening of the legendary jar that released all the world's evils. Epimetheus's role as the afterthought god, who never acted first, led to a series of decisions that would change the world. And then there was Atlas, who famously carried the weight of the world on his shoulders for eternity. But the Titan legacy didn't even stop there. The The children of Hyperion and Theia were equally notable. Helios, the sun god, was believed to drive his chariot across the sky each day, bringing the sun's light to the earth. Selene, the goddess of the moon, was said to take a chariot of her own across the sky at night, presiding over the cycles of the months. Eos, the goddess of the dawn, heralded the sun's return each day, her arrival marked by the colorful sky. Eos, forever cursed with an unrelenting passion for Ares, had her own tragic love story, famously carrying Orion off to Delos, where he met his untimely death at the hands of Artemis. These titans were not just gods of natural phenomena, but they were also deeply tied to the stories of the gods and mortals alike. But what truly began the shift in power from the Titans to the Olympians was a dramatic act of violence that would shake the foundations of the universe. Gaia, pained by the treatment of her children by Ouranos, crafted a sickle and called upon her children to help her overthrow their father. Only Kronos, the youngest and most ambitious of the Titans, dared to act. With Gaia's guidance, Kronos ambushed his father, castrating him with the sickle and throwing the severed parts into the sea. This violent act had two significant results. The first was the Furies, goddesses who would forever punish acts of familial violence. The second was the birth of Aphrodite, the goddess of love who arose from the foam created by the discarded genitals. Kronos, now the ruler of the cosmos, had defeated his father, but the consequences of his actions would haunt him in ways he could never have predicted. The Furies, born from the blood of Ouranos, would become ever present in the myths that followed, reminding gods and mortals alike of the costs of treachery and violence. Kronos emerged victorious, and many believed that he ruled alone, but other stories suggest that there were other divine rulers before him. In the Orphic tradition, we hear of Ophion and Eurynome, the first rulers of the world, who were eventually cast down by Kronos and his wife Rhea. Some argue that Ophion was just another name for Ouranos or even Oceanus, while others see him as an entirely separate deity. Regardless, Kronos' rise to power was not as straightforward as it may seem. His rule was built on violence, deception, and the fear of prophecy. Kronos, now the ruler of the cosmos, was determined to avoid his foretold fate. To prevent it, he swallowed each of his children as soon as they were born. But when Rhea, his wife, was about to give birth to their sixth child, Zeus, she couldn't bear to lose another. So, with the help of Gaia, she secretly gave birth to Zeus on the island of Crete, and tricked Kronos into swallowing a stone instead of the infant. When Zeus grew into adulthood, he freed his siblings from Kronos' stomach, and together they prepared for the war that would change everything. The following conflict was known as the Titanomachy, a fierce battle between the Olympians and the Titans. The Olympians, led by Zeus, waged war for 10 long years. First, Zeus freed the Cyclopes and the 100-handers from Tartarus, the prison of the damned. The 100-handers hurled massive rocks at the Titans, causing the earth to tremble. Then, Zeus entered the battle, wielding a thunderbolt given to him by the Cyclopes. Together, they defeated the Titans, casting them into the bottomless pits of Tartarus. But even after their defeat, the Titans were not forgotten. Enraged by the Olympians' victory, Gaia birthed Typhus, a monstrous serpentine creature who threatened to destroy the world. Zeus, however, was not deterred. He fought Typhus in an epic struggle, ultimately striking him down with his mighty thunderbolt. With Typhus defeated, Zeus became the king of the gods, and the era of the Olympians began. The Titans, once the rulers of the cosmos, were cast aside, and their reign forever ended. But their legacy lived on in the myths and the stories that shaped the ancient world. From the violent overthrow of Ouranos to the rise of Zeus, the tale of the Titans is one of power, betrayal, and the eternal struggle for control of the universe.